So I think we're live, folks. So good morning, everybody. I'm Andrew Jenkins. So if you don't know me yet, I'm Andrew Jenkins. This is a short countdown timer to help the various feeds catch up with each other and stabilise and settle down. We've had a few problems with LinkedIn over the last few weeks, so fingers crossed we're okay today. And we can't wait for today's groovy show, folks. And in this week's Leaders Live, we hang out with my mate, Dave Rogers. And Dave was on the show many months back talking about well-being and his book as well, Fueled, Fit and Fired Up. So we'll be mentioning that a little bit today. And our theme today is the power of a playful workplace, folks. So, that's really good. Just waiting for the feed to pop its way up. It looks like we're here. Good morning. Yeah. Now, last week we didn't have any comments at all, so we're just waiting to see whether comments are coming through today, and they're still not coming through the comments, so hopefully they'll come up in a minute. And so we've got a couple of freebies today, and give us a wave, Dave. Brilliant. So a quick hello. Just checking the
everybody.
And we've got Mrs. Moderator in the other window there. So give us a quick hello.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Yeah, the comments still aren't coming through on Ecamm, so
No,
but we've got
not.
no, they're not as usual. Blimey, I don't know what's going on, but we'll pick the comments up anyway, hopefully somehow. And we have Tilly's gang from Marketing CX on as well, and here's the official sponsors video. Brilliant. Right. Well, we're going to have to read from the phone today because the comments still aren't coming through at the moment on Ecamm, which is flipping annoying. So are they coming through for you, Sarah?
Not on Ecamm. They're coming through on LinkedIn.
They're coming through on LinkedIn. We'll pick them up on LinkedIn. So, oi, people, hi gang, it's the Leaders Live showtime, folks. Again, we've got some LinkedIn issues this morning, so not our fault at all. So I promise you, we're trying to get LinkedIn to admit they've got some issues. But anyway, we're live, and it's just after 8:45 a.m. here in the UK, and we are live on Leaders Live, spreading the love, folks, spreading the love, yabba dabba do. And I hope you enjoyed that groovy opener, gang. And this week, we're delighted that we're being powered by our sponsor for the week, again, is brand and design agency Ghost. And please let us know if our audio is coming through as well, okay? And a quick hello to Jonas, Laurie Hales, Kieran, we've got Dave Rogers on, obviously. Dan's, how are you doing, Dan's? So give us a quick hello in the comments to know that you're all on live. We've got quite a few people on live this morning, so that's good news as well. Righty-ho. So if you're new to Leaders Live, a warm welcome to you. Leaders Live is a dynamic weekly talk show that generates business through networking, through community and extraordinary conversations, folks, and we hope to inspire you today. And as I mentioned in the countdown, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and I host this interactive weekly Leaders Live show that's built an awesome community of like-minded leaders. So please don't be shy. We'd love to introduce yourself to the show. Pop your comments in the comments field. Please say hello to us, as I've said. Don't be shy. We've got some simple rules. We like to build relationships with each other here. It's a community after all, but the simple rules are it's a safe community, mutual respect, and please, no selling in the room. So, and my phone, my camera is just gone off as well. So just bear with me while I just get my camera back online. Oh dear, it's all going on today. So our motto is I to the power of we, and I'm just going to shift slides to get to our guest today while I'm coming back online. So my camera has just decided to give up the ghost this morning. So as usual, we're streaming on all the major social channels this morning and on our Leaders Live website too. Don't you just love tech or not, as the case may be? And yeah, we'll be available on podcast as well. And look, I'm sure you appreciate there's a huge amount of work and love that goes into producing this high quality free Leaders Live business show every week for you guys. And one really easy way that you can give back to the show and appreciate the love for the show is buy me a coffee. Use the buymeacoffee.com app. It's brilliant. buymeacoffee.com/Leaders Live. The link will be in the show. Hopefully if Sarah can do it, or Tilly, our team in South Africa, that'll be fantastic. So yeah, hopefully that will be in the feed. And it looks something like this when you buy me a coffee. If I can find the way I can do this, just bear with me. Let's just do a quick test. Here we go. There we are. It looks a bit like that. It's fantastic. So it's a bit of fun. Yeah, it's just great fun. Please use that. All the proceeds go back to the show to make it even more better, folks. And smash those likes too, please, folks. Where are we? Here we go. Hopefully we've got me back on the camera. Yeah, smash those likes too. Where are we? Where's the sub screen? Here we go. There it is. And we love you to subscribe to our email list as well. And the link will be in the feed at the moment. To make it real simple, we now have this single link tree URL that you can use to connect with all of our channels. So we can keep you updated. It's brilliant, actually. And thanks to Kieran O'Donnell for the shout out for that for me. Brilliant little app. So it's like an electronic business card. And that will hopefully be in the feed now. Sarah, are you able to pop things in the feeds today?
Apparently not.
Oh, God, here we go. Right. Okay. So hopefully, Tilly, if you're listening, can you pop stuff in the feed for us?
Tilly's doing a grand job. You see, this is what we like about having marketing CX in the background. They
Right.
make me look good and just put it all in anyway. So
There we go.
so thanks,
Yeah.
Tilly.
So let me just bring up the mod scene so you know who's speaking there. That's our Sarah, Mrs.
There we
Moderator.
go,
So
Mrs.
there we go.
Moderator. It's in the room now.
So Phew, put it all together. What do you got? Bibbidi bobbidi boo. So we've got cameras doing all sorts of funky stuff today, and LinkedIn's not playing it brilliantly today, but hopefully you guys are all right. What's going on in the chat, Sarah? Anything going on in the chat?
Oh, from what I can see, lots of people, it all looks okay. So
Great.
Gavin Gill, hello to Mateus, Joe Cooper,
Fantastic.
Tilly's being amazing in the background.
Yeah.
Kingsley Johnson, good morning. Julie Hudson, Maria Jeffers. So lots of people logging on for this morning's chat.
Brilliant. Okay, just move you about a little bit, Sarah. Right, there we go. So let's introduce our guest today. Let's bring in our guest. Let's just change scenes quickly. Okay, here we go. Our hangout guest this morning. Good morning, Dave Rogers. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, thank you, Andrew. Fantastic to be able to join you again, and really looking forward to our conversation today.
Likewise. Yeah. I just hope my camera doesn't overheat too much today. So
I'm sure we'll get through it.
I'm sure we will. So our theme today is the power of a playful workplace to boost success. Oh, I think that deserves a and maybe even a. So set the scene for us today, Dave. Kick us off. Where are we going today? Give us a direction of travel, mate.
Yes, I think today it's about chatting about how we can develop a creative, collaborative, but challenging environment with people at work.
Cool.
But bring some fun to it, help support people's well-being, engages people in the business, and I suppose creates that environment that helps businesses ultimately attract talent to themselves. So therefore, building the success, high-performing teams that are going to deliver success for them.
Brilliant. Delivering high-performing teams. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Thanks, Dave. And my camera's just decided to overheat right now. So hopefully I'll get that back online again in a minute. I'm just going to leave it a minute to cool down. But while you're at it, let's just give you a quick round of applause. Okay. So audience question today. Dave, I think you might have an audience question for us, if you can remember what that is.
Yes, it was. It was So what we were interested in is what sort of examples of fun in the workplace of our viewers experienced, and if not, why do you think that is?
Why do you think that is? So what sort of examples of fun in the workplace have you experienced? And if not, why might that be? Okay, so, interesting question. As I said, my camera's just cooling down at the moment, so I'll pop it back up again in a minute. So hopefully that's in the feed now. Sarah, is that in the feed? I think I've lost Sarah as well by the sounds of it.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no, I'm back.
Oh, baby, you're back. Hello.
You're on mute.
You're on mute. Fantastic. Okay. Well, hopefully that's in the feed. So, please pop your comments in. What sort of examples of fun in the work? What sort of examples of having fun at work have you experienced? And if not, why might that be? That was the question. So, wow. Okay. So please interact with that, folks. We'll pick that up in a minute. Sarah will check out what's going on in the feed. Let me just bring Dave back up while I'm still waiting for my camera to cool down. So where are we? Guest scene. There we go. Right, lovely. So we're giving you a round of applause. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the groovy build-up, mate. And
I have, yes.
We did this poll, didn't we, Dave? Which is quite interesting.
Right.
Talking about playfulness. And this was an amazing poll. We did this on LinkedIn last week. And this flew. I mean, we had so many responses for this. Incredible. As a business leader, can your people have fun at work and still be professional? That was our question. 96% said yes, definitely. 2% said depends on the bosses. I love that. And nope, work is work, right? So 3% of people. So that was that. So any thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, I think it's amazing that so many people are enjoying themselves at work because at the end of the day, we spend a lot of time there, whether we're
Absolutely.
physically together in offices or whether we're online with each other. So to be able to get that's brilliant, and I think also it shows a sign of a movement in leadership of businesses
Yeah.
recognizing that fact. And yeah, it just looks like there's a lot of joyful places to work, and certainly from the comments that were also put on the poll on LinkedIn. There was some fantastic comments left as well for us.
Yeah, joyful workplaces. I like that, Dave. Some of the comments were quite interesting, actually, folks. So we had people saying, "Yep, do quizzes. Love quizzes. Can't beat a good quiz." Or some simple goal setting and competitions around goal achievement, etc. Workshops with beer and food or wine. Fantastic. Yeah, love that. And also, what was the other one? All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy. Yeah. Most of our lives are spent at work. So yes, why shouldn't we have fun? Was some of the comments that we had. And yes, but not air hockey for 6 hours a day, right? I think that was another
I did
comment
see
from
that one.
somebody.
Yeah,
And I think someone put abso-bleeping-lutely. So yeah, technical term that. So we had lots and lots of interesting stuff there. So, okay, Dave, let's get to it. How does being a playful workplace actually benefit our working lives, Dave? And more importantly, what is the link to boosting business success? You mentioned high-performing teams earlier, so go for it, Dave.
yeah. So I think for me, it's all about the
Mm,
social interaction
okay.
and using that to understand how each other work as individuals and
Yeah.
get to know each other on a more personal level than just a professional level. I think that then builds trust and confidence in each other, and also that again going back to my original comments about that
Mm,
environment where we're able to feel that we're comfortable challenging each other, which develops therefore an environment where we can be innovative, we can be expressive, we can start exploring and experimenting with different solutions to the same business problems, and really develop a business that's looking to move forward and develop itself on an ongoing basis.
yeah, and you mentioned some important stuff there. So when people feel safe at work and feel comfortable with each other,
Exactly,
they can build trust. They can, enjoy being with one another, feel safe. That psychological safety thing,
exactly,
and also
exactly.
that whole challenge. Each other, so they feel comfortable with conflict and working through that, Dave.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think it was interesting that one of the comments was about sort of not air hockey for 6 hours a day or
Yeah,
whatever it
whatever it
was.
was. Yeah,
And we put in the original post for today about it's more than just PlayStations and pool tables. It's about creating that um experiential environment, I suppose. And if I go back to my long time spent in hospitality, it's a sort of it's that development of those things that bring people together,
yeah,
and create that environment where it might be outside of work, but also it's got to be, in my view, it's got to be inclusive as well, because not everybody loves air hockey or going to flight club
yeah,
or walking the hills of Clenton, Malvern, which are close to where I live. And it's
yeah.
about understanding that different people have different views on what fun is in the workplace as well, which we saw in the comments that we got on the poll.
Yeah. Yeah, and just I'll just bring in Sarah for a minute as well, Mrs. Moderator. Anything going on in the chat, Sarah? Just give
Oh,
Dave a quick break.
lots
Yeah,
going on in the
go for it.
chat.
Yeah,
Did
can't
make
see
me
any
laugh.
of them.
Steve Whittle, good
Oh,
morning.
good
Better
morning,
late
Steve.
than never. Glad he's obviously having so much fun at work. He forgot to tune in on time. We're going to put
Yeah,
it down to
exactly. That's it.
totally. Dulcie, interesting you mentioned about being hospitality, Dave. So
Yeah.
Dulcie said the most fun she had was the work hard, play hard when she was an area manager for a pub.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that that yeah, that's exactly it. And it's that, and it was perhaps one thing I could have mentioned at the beginning, is that it does generate that, the people will commit time over and above because they enjoy themselves so much and are fully engaged in what you're trying to achieve. And Dulcie and I spent a number of years working together in the same business. So yeah, I can fully
That's the
support
link,
that.
is
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, good morning, Dulcie. Great. And Dulcie was on
Morning,
last week
Dulcie.
shouting out her book as well, so which is a dose, personal prescriptions for a happier life. And we talked about cold showers and things like that. By the way, Dave, do you have cold showers? Just a quickie.
To be honest, I'm going to be honest here. I started
Yeah.
when Dulcie first shared it, and then I quickly stopped.
You didn't do it long enough to get the benefits
No,
then,
I
clearly.
clearly broke my own rules of habit building, which was I wasn't doing it enough to create a new habit.
Brilliant,
But,
brilliant.
There's always room to start again.
There you go,
Yeah,
Dave. There's
exactly.
always room to
I did
start
think
again. Yeah,
that.
we'll get Dulcie on you. That'll sort her. That'll sort you out, mate.
She'll be messaging me later, I'm sure.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah. What else is going on, Sarah?
Maria Jeff has made me laugh. She said she's done the old team building days, building tents, outdoor challenges, but the most bizarre exercise was set in the centre of Glasgow. They had to pretend to be undercover agents and solve a set of problems. Didn't really get it, but she had great fun.
Wow.
Excellent.
That does sound brilliant. My God. Yeah. What else is going on? That sounds amazing. I like that.
Dan's made a really valid comment that everybody's got a different perspective of fun. So, it depends. It's finding something that's inclusive because, as you said, not everybody will want to go down to the pub after work or things like it. It's being inclusive, whether it's inspirational people speaking and it's also having, life commitments, isn't it? It might
Family,
be great if you haven't got kids and no commitments. You'll go down to the pub after work. If you've got to feed the kids and pick them up from nursery, it's not quite that easy. And I think that is, dare I say it, a gender bias.
Oh, there's Sarah being provocative there. Yeah, get it in there. Why not? Absolutely. Yeah, dare I say? There you go. That's gonna set off a stream of comments, Sarah.
Hopefully, it might provoke something, but
Fantastic.
it's I think we have to be real as well, don't we?
Yeah. So just to let you know, look, the comments aren't coming through on eCam at the moment, so we can't display them on here. But Sarah's doing a great job of reading them, and we've got Tilly in the background just popping the comments in for us. So everyone's doing a great job, and that's our team today with Dave and myself. So there we go. So. Go on. Have you just spotted something else? Go on, Sarah.
I've just read Kieran's comment. Is Leaders Live, aka the Cold Shower Accountability Group? Absolutely, Kieran. It really is.
Well, especially next week. We've got Kieran on next week, and I'll tell you the title a bit later as a teaser. But that comes up again. So. Brilliant. Thanks, Kieran.
Steve Whittle does remind us that fun is relative as well, isn't it? It's, what might be fun for somebody might actually be excruciatingly painful for somebody else if they're very shy and it's a very extrovert atmosphere or something like that.
And I think that's a really valid point. It's and trying to find something that is fully inclusive is incredibly difficult. And I think we'll probably touch on it a little bit later around with hybrid working and all of those sort of things, and trying to find ways of getting people together is becoming more and more challenging in some respects to create that environment as well.
That's really interesting. Yeah, we're gonna come on to the hybrid working in a moment. And just a quick shout out for Steve Whittle's workplace. Steve works for Cooper Parry, and he's their head of events. Fantastic job. Boy, you've got a brilliant job, Steve, and we're all very jealous of your job. But Cooper Parry, really amazing. You go into their workplace, Dave, and it's astonishing. It's like you get greeted by someone sitting on a settee for a start off, as the reception area, which is like wow, But they're fully attentive, and they've got PlayStations and pool tables and ice hockey and all of those things around, And this workplace is one vista after another with comfy settees and all the rest of it. They've really gone to town on this, and absolutely brilliant, and they knock that kind of, they just knock it out the park when it comes to the understanding of work and play and making that intrinsically, a part of the workplace for them. quite astonishing, Dave. Have you come across workplaces like that? Presumably in hospitality, you might have seen a bit of that.
Yeah. So it was,
Mm,
it's interesting. It's the whole, having, training bars in offices, which
yeah,
automatically allow you to create those social
that's
interactions.
right. Yeah,
Actually physically within the building. Yeah,
yeah,
pool tables, dartboards,
yeah. Good
football
coffee. That's
tables.
the other thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's
Mm,
interesting. It's creating that those reasons, I think. And
yeah.
again, I'm probably jumping ahead again with the whole hybrid working thing here, but it's creating those reasons for people to go into the office as well,
Yeah.
to, or reconnect with the office following 2 or 3 years of being very disconnected.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff, and I think it's always that you used to see the American tech companies always seem to be the leaders in this in this field as to how to create those environments that allow people to feel relaxed and engaged and and want to work for those businesses. I think is probably the key thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there
Mm.
any sort of other tangible examples of a playful workplace? Just so people can kind of, okay,
Yeah,
what does it mean to be a playful workplace? We get it in concept, but what kind of things can you do?
yeah. Well, I think somebody mentioned it earlier. Again, using my experience of
Mm,
the sort of lockdown, as it were, within the hospitality industry. It'd be trying to create, sort of an online environment. So whether it be quizzes or whether it be,
yeah,
race nights,
yeah,
and again, you've got, those sort of experiential things
mm,
that people go, oh, actually, that sounds quite exciting. Or
yeah,
you can go in as a team, you can join in as a team. Um, and also, there's been quite a couple of businesses that I know of have been taking their, staff out for an evening. So it might be to a comedy show at the
lovely,
at the comedy store in
yeah,
Birmingham, for example, or
brilliant,
it could be, it could be the theatre. It could be, going back to that inclusivity and what people are,
people want,
are looking for.
yeah,
And then one really interesting thing is actually a couple of businesses I know have started using tech to help them. So they're creating sort of Teams groups within Microsoft Teams for certain groups of interests outside of work. So it could be, some people might see, a book club as being fun, cookery club, walking club, pet club, and using those as ways of generating, just a different conversation in the work environment, which is what ultimately having fun and excitement's about.
I like that. So bringing it back to different conversations in the workplace.
Yeah,
So, it's still about
yeah,
work, but because these aren't just work colleagues anymore. They've become a little bit,
yeah.
we feel safe with one another. It's that whole trust thing again, right?
Correct, and it's sort of almost
Mm.
finding a way of bringing the face-to-face sort of water cooler moments from the office online, and
Yeah.
finding a way of doing it, because I think what technology has allowed us to do is become more connected, but in some respects it's made us more functional in the way that we work and interact with each other. So I think that's quite an interesting
Really good
thing to.
point.
Yeah,
I'm just writing that down. So functional. Which brings me to the next question. So, in this new hybrid working world that you've hinted
yeah,
about as well, many business now operating that model, right? 3 days a week in the office, four
yeah,
days a week
yeah.
in the office, whatever, or and then 2 days at home, or whatever the rule set is
Mm.
for what you've agreed. And my camera's just about to go off again in a minute. How does playfulness help support employee well-being then, Dave? This is a subject that's really close to your heart.
Yeah, so I think for me it's helping sort of remove those pressures from day to day life, and
Yeah.
you think about something like cognitive fatigue, or something like that, where it's not physical tiredness, it's more mental tiredness.
Mm.
We're on. I know we're on screen at the moment together, and with Sarah, and people are joining us on their screens, but it's finding that way to get away from the screen and have some fun and bring some joy and some relaxation to work, which probably sounds a little bit counterintuitive. But I think that then reignites people's willingness to re-engage with an office environment and that social interaction,
Yeah.
and help also that balance between um, introvertedness and extrovertedness as well, which I think sometimes when you're just online, there's a danger that as most people can probably guess who are watching this live and will watch it back, I'm an extrovert, but actually sometimes you can, you find yourself taking over sometimes those conversations, particularly online, a little bit more. And I think we've just got to be conscious of those people that are, that when we are online, and this return to hybrid working, that actually introducing a bit of fun can engage everybody within the group, regardless of who they are, where they're from, what background they're from, and all those sort of good things.
Yeah, I like the way you're going on that, and the functional piece there. They say that hybrid working is far, far better for productivity, and this has been proven now with the pandemic. But actually, bringing people into the workplace to connect and reconnect and to build trust, these are equally important. And that creativity thing is different from productivity, right, Dave?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a danger with using the word productivity, that it's there's this whole sort of danger of burnout culture, it being all about work, and and yes, we've all got jobs to do at the end of the day, and and all of those good things that come from working with businesses and for businesses. But it is that balance between going, right, it's not all about the day job here, it's about how do you create an environment where people actually are excited to come to work. And you think of all those buzzwords that have happened about sort of the big resignation, sort of. I remember when I think it was I can't remember which of the famous couples it was now, but they described their divorce as consciously uncoupling. I think it might have been Chris. I think it might have been Chris Martin when he got divorced, and almost it feels like there's a danger there that people are, need to feel more from the businesses they're working for to re-engage them in performance, I suppose, and high performance and delivering success, because actually you can do that in the right environment with the right, fun, playful things that are going on around you.
I really like that, yeah, and just realizing it's not all work. Play is equally as important. Just to let you know, my camera's gone a bit doolally this morning. It's overheating again, so I'm just going to bring. And for you guys listening, I'm just going to bring the Mrs. Moderator back in a moment. What sort of thoughts have you got about hybrid working, folks? And fun in the workplace, or not, as the case may be. Does it create more fun, less fun? What have you noticed about hybrid working? And there I am again. So, camera's cooled down a bit. Sarah, what's going on in the comments?
Oh, lots in the comment. Very much, yeah. Hybrid working has made it more difficult because it does have an appearance that working in the office you can generate more fun than if you're at home behind a desk on Zoom.
Dead right.
It does have more challenges. Steve Mittle, put my teeth in. Steve Whittle, late to the party, but as always, made great comments.
He does.
He's got 5 generations in the workplace, so you have to factor in what is fun for different generations, because Gen Z are very different to Gen X.
So you're employing children. I'm teasing, Steve. No, that's interesting. Lots of generations. Really good point.
It is.
And it's. Yes, technology, Gavin makes the point, technology has made us more disconnected. Nothing beats a face-to-face meeting over coffee to break down barriers.
Yeah. Who said that?
That was Gavin Gill. All
right. Hi, Gavin. How you doing?
Maria Jeffers, a lot of assumptions can be made about what everybody finds fun. We mentioned earlier, didn't it? What's fun for one person might be absolutely the worst thing ever for somebody else.
That's it. There's nothing worse than forced fun.
Forced fun. Yeah, nothing worse than forced fun, folks. I like that. I'm going to quote that. Nothing worse than, forced
you can
fun.
Keep that one, Andrew. That's my gift for you today.
Thank you. Yeah, I've just written that down. Nothing worse than forced fun, folks. But interesting about assumptions. And, I think that when we're working in the hybrid world, when we're away from work, when we're on the other side of a computer screen, I remember during the pandemic, I certainly got mentally burnt out. And I would probably say as far as being quite mentally ill at that time. I found it very, very difficult, particularly the latter half of that. When we came out of lockdown, then went straight back in again. That was really tricky for me.
Yeah, and I think going back to Steve's point about generations as well. I think there's we've got to remember as well. There'll be a lot of people across all generations actually where when we were in lockdown, there was an element of isolation around what was happening because
Exactly.
they might be living on their own.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily part of a bubble, and therefore trying to create that environment to keep everybody connected.
Yeah.
In a very disconnected world during that time would have had a huge impact on people's mental and emotional health, definitely.
And it did, didn't it? Massive.
Yeah.
And thank heavens we're out of that now. Sarah's company Ghost, what they did was they had quizzes online and stuff like that, and we joined in. It was great fun, during a period of isolation when you can connect with other people. And it's amazing how well you can connect, but there's nothing like being humanly connected, right? Proper, in real life, IRL, as Joe Cooper calls it, I think.
And I think that's just reminded me actually of another thing that I saw during lockdown, which was around fun and generating fun was sort of because we were allowed out. If you can, everybody can remember when we were allowed out of the house once a day to go for a walk.
Oh yeah.
Those good old days of March and April and May of 2020. What we did at the business that I was working for at the time was we created a walking challenge. Which actually got a lot of the people involved because I was in hospitality at the time. So a lot of the pub teams, particularly, are used to doing thousands of steps every day. Running around, giving guests fantastic experiences. So they did a walking challenge, which sort of interacted through technology, but it created a bit of fun about it. And there was team competitions,
Brilliant.
And there were some prizes, and there was some challenges, quizzes, and stuff like that. And it just felt like, where the teams were used to being together all of the time, we'd created something where they could hang out together, but it was just an online environment rather than face to face within the four walls of their pubs and restaurants.
Yeah, with my team at Inspired CEOs, I run another thing that I co-founded called Inspired CEOs, which is literally a set of CEOs, and we did walk and talk with WhatsApp, which is brilliant. So we could communicate while we were out walking, and the only rule was get out and walk while we talk. Dead simple. So, Dave, how do we as leaders go about implementing playfulness, into a business culture? And how does that link to creativity? There's kind of two questions there. So, how do we create that sort of playful business culture and the link to creativity?
I think there's a couple of things. I know I did, jokingly use the phrase forced fun earlier, but there was an element of seriousness to that. Is that actually understanding what everybody wants? And I think Steve's point about those generational differences are really key. So actually, everybody will be looking for a different type of fun, a different sort of interaction. Those interactions occur in different ways. You're therefore learning a little bit more about in some respects, breaking down those generational barriers as well.
Yeah.
By creating the right environment,
or really supporting them as well, Dave. That's everybody's view, right?
That's it. Fully inclusive. And it's got to be varied for me, because that then prompts that different type of thinking and that different type of creativity and the problem solving, and that whole, as I said right at the beginning, about creating a creative and collaborative but also challenging environment to allow it to actually, in some respects, it's not just about generational actually thinking about it, as we're talking, it's also about the hierarchical situations within a business, and actually how do you create an environment where everybody in the organization is empowered to not just have ideas but to share ideas as well.
I like that. So part of the playfulness is the ability to feel safe enough with the element of play that people can then feel empowered with the work that they're doing because they trust, because there's trust that's built, right?
Correct.
Which then enables you to be much more challenging at work too, and produce even more better results. Excuse
and that's exactly. But I think it's also then incumbent on the leaders within the organisation to be, and all the great leaders I've ever worked with are accepting of that, of those ideas. So it really is people are, sort of almost you said we did sort of approach to employee engagement that a lot of people will have heard that phrase, I'm sure, with their employee engagement programs. But people saying, what, these are the things that we're looking for, these are the things we want, these are the things that are going to make our working environment better, but allowing that not just to be about the practical resources to physically do your job. It's about what's supporting that around it, and those employee assistance programs and all of those sort of
I like that,
those sort of
support
things as
programs.
well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it seems to me, what and I'm just wondering what, we'll pick up the chat in a minute, but another thing for the chat, folks, is, to get playfulness in the workplace, what kind of leadership style do you think we need? It was a question to you guys, as well, watching and listening. But, for you, Dave, you've had a lot of experience as being, head of finance at Marstons, massive job, and really good pedigree. Did you see what I just did there?
Oh, that was very good, very good, very good.
Marstons pedigree, for those that you don't know, it's a beer, so a beautiful beer. So, what kind of leadership style do you need to implement this kind of playfulness in the workplace, Dave?
Yeah, I think you've just got to be open to people's ideas.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that. It's not being, I suppose, for one of a better phrase, stuck in your own generational bubble as well. And he's under, he's under, in the nicest possible way. There's a lot, there's a lot more people working for larger organisations of a younger generation, or we've got new generations coming through that have learnt in different ways, through the pandemic, and actually we've now got different ways of working through technology and all of those sort of things. But also there's a different there's a different way that the young people today makes me sound really old. Enjoy themselves. So it's not like sort of when I was younger, it was you'd go out until it was dark and your mum was shouting you in, and you'd be out with your mates, and you'd be
going
on your
out
bike,
playing in the
football.
street.
And I know this is probably it's probably I'm probably over exaggerating a little bit, but there's different ways that people interact now online. They're still having fun, but they're interacting online with PlayStation, Xbox games, Xbox Live, and
gaming's massive, right?
And gaming's huge.
Yeah.
So actually, those are the sort of things that we've all got to consider as leaders and businesses. To adopt that in the workplace, and it's interesting that you mentioned that Marstons, where I was working previously, is they did a fantastic job of introducing a online gamification app which was being used to train the teams.
Wow!
Because they recognised that's what engaged young people.
Interesting, isn't it?
And I know we're going to be. I think we're moving onto it next, but we'll talk about how do you hire.
Yeah, indeed, we're going to get to that question.
Yeah, and it's all of those sort of things. So I'll hold my thoughts on that.
No worries. Yeah, we'll come to that.
The conversation.
Yeah, and give you a break for a minute. Let's just find out what's going on in the chat. But just before we do that, guys, you peeps listening, please join in with this. What do you think is important leadership attributes to make playfulness happen? One of the thoughts that I've got, and maybe Maria and Joe Cooper and others, and particularly Steve Whittle, actually, who's really experiencing this in his workplace, it's how do we get to that cohesion, and build the soft skills necessary to be able to have those kind of playful workplaces, and and that growth mindset, really, because this is a different way of thinking, right? A completely different way of thinking. So we'll come on to that in a minute, but hold that thought. And if you've got any thoughts on that, or questions, or answers to that, folks listening, please pop them in the chat, and we'll pick them up. Talking about the chat, Mrs. Moderator, what's going on?
Kieran makes a really good point that in this age of authenticity,
of course,
is there a great opportunity to find ways and activities that allow your team to truly be themselves, be authentic? Let they feel safe enough to be who they really are without having to put your work head on and be who you think you ought to be.
So you're safe. You feel safe enough to just be the person you are, right, without having to have this
Being
kind of professional head, right, Sarah?
being
Yeah,
accepted for who you are, whether you're the extrovert, the introvert, the class joker.
yeah.
Um, and I think there is a
Accepted.
difference. Yeah.
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
think speaking as an introvert, I think you feel it's harder to be accepted because you don't necessarily want to join in with all the extrovert activities because you don't feel comfortable. So
Mm.
it's really, I love that, just letting people be who they are and accept them for who they are.
like that. Yeah, well done, Kieran. Nice
Yeah.
thought. Yeah, beautiful.
David Agnew says we've always tried to engage and involve the whole team in events and activities.
Thanks, Kieran. Yeah, got a coffee from Kieran. Thanks, mate. Yeah, you can all buy me a coffee, folks. Please do.
Don't buy too many at a time because they'll just be bouncing off the ceiling.
That caffeine
Pace
injection.
yourselves.
Well, that's a
Pace
bit of
Having
yourselves.
caffeine fun. That's what that
Absolutely.
is. Andrew.
There is quite a bit of
caffeine
chat about
fun.
coffee actually
Yeah,
in the chat. A good coffee is an essential. Our
absolutely.
office at Ghost runs on good coffee.
It doesn't it just?
Um,
Yeah.
but I'm also going to do a shout out to Glenn, who does the most amazing quizzes, and he does a really good job in our office of bringing everybody in. So big shout out to Glenn this morning. Sometimes probably
Yeah.
feels
It's
underappreciated, but it's not.
yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing what a good quiz can really do for people, and just have general fun and just a little bit of Mickey taking out of each other, and as you said about that inclusivity as well.
Yeah.
Sarah, I think that's probably the one thing I've experienced that is possibly as inclusive as it can be in that in that regard. And I've seen teams within businesses I've worked at previously where the leader of the team will, every day will just drop out some bizarre but general knowledge question, or what are the top 10 X's that do Y or whatever, and all of a sudden those teams are just having fun all day, shouting things across offices and all sorts of stuff, and it's
Brilliant.
random
Yeah.
random words being shouted out and things like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, again, Steve Rittle's saying gamification. I didn't even know
yeah,
that was a word.
Yeah. It's a
Is
big one.
massive.
Massive.
Instant rewards for employees.
Mm. Ooh,
Yeah,
instant
and I wonder
rewards.
if that's something that little companies can do as well as big companies.
And what kind of instant rewards, Steve, would be my question to you. So please answer that. That'd be quite interesting. So coffee, absolutely good coffee. Yeah, whenever I go to Ghost, their coffee's brilliant. So shout out for that. And there's something about office environments as well, Dave. I'm just thinking about Cooper Parry and Sarah's company, the sponsors of this very show, the Ghost. You walk into their offices and it's superb. It's like it sells itself, does Ghost, because they've just got a remarkable workplace. And Dave Agnew, the CEO of that business, he's got such an eye for detail, and just those little things like the beautiful wooden benches that are really authentic, the tiled floor, and just the atmosphere, which you just, as soon as you walk in, you feel wow. Same as Cooper Parry, you walk into that office and you go, oh my gosh, this is wow, and then you get offered a great coffee, so just like you do at Ghost. So yeah.
Yeah, and and there is a lot to be said about the environment that
Yeah.
people work in, and does that breed relaxation and
Yeah.
enjoyment
Safety. Yeah.
and safety and its openness, and and creating those, again, I keep using the word collaborative, but creating those collaborative spaces that people feel comfortable to go and have a chat with, and it is more maybe soft furnishings than than
Yeah.
hard office furniture meeting rooms, and it's just
Dead
those
right.
as you said, those little attention to detail can make all the difference.
Yeah, if the environment's right, you can then build on top of that environment. So think about that, folks. It's not just about, okay, how do we have fun? It's how do we create the environment to create the fun, so it automatically comes in. So when someone walks through the door, what's their first impressions? And as we know, first impressions really count. So
Exactly.
Dave, let's just talking about, I'm just looking at where we are positioning time-wise, and it's probably a good time to talk about how do we hire then for playfulness, Dave? What are the kind of attributes we're looking for? How the heck do you do that?
Well, for me, again,
Yeah.
this might be a hospitality thing, but
Mm,
it's all about personality. You know,
personality.
it's
Right.
you know, and not just the personality that that person is bringing. It's the
Mm.
personality that you're exhibiting externally as well.
Okay.
So for me, it's about, what does the hiring process look like?
Ah,
What is the engagement during that hiring process? Is it is it interactive? Is it playful? Is it
interact.
making your company engage with everybody?
Yeah.
And it's what that, I suppose, it's not so much the glass door um, sort of view of the world. So for those that don't know, Glassdoor is the sort of the trip advisor for businesses. So it's where employees can leave reviews on what it's like for working within a business. For me, it's more about what is the social media personality that the business is showing, and where are they advertising, and are they going back to Steve's point about the generational thing, is actually, different generations will be looking in different places for their jobs, and recognizing that, and how do you engage in a playful way, in an interactive way
Ah, I see. Yeah, I was thinking
within
about
the
interviews, you see, and you're thinking about way beyond that. You're thinking about
yeah
how do we
this
attract the right people in the first place? Right.
yeah so going back to your
Ah,
point about first impressions count,
yeah,
is that first impression for everything
of
nowadays, is
course.
for me, is always online. So actually, if it is a, click here, upload your CV, click
Mm.
here, upload
Yeah.
your cover letter, you know,
Faceless. Yeah.
then yes, that's got its place. But actually, if you
Ah,
really want to find the right personalities for your business, whatever that looks like, and actually, it's important for you to understand the personalities that you're looking for your business as well. Is, that starts for me on how are you selling your business externally on social media.
yeah, that's a really good point. I'd not thought about that. So, that faceless organization, like, you can get with typically, without mentioning any names at all, but just typically you find it with large corporates, this faceless
Yeah,
way of interviewing, or even
yeah,
just applying, right? Where a
yeah,
thousand people interview, a
mm,
thousand people apply, but you don't know where you are in the process. You never get any feedback. How far
yeah,
did I get, in the decision making process? Nothing is, but nothing comes back to the person that's applying. Where what you're
mm,
saying is that actually it starts with how you even advertise for that
yeah,
role. Is that what you're saying, Dave?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
interesting.
it's almost
Mm,
if you're looking for, again, I'll use hospitality as a
yeah,
great example.
mm,
Huge number of young people
yeah,
who come into that industry, whether it be to help support university studies, or as a career, whatever that might be. So where would you go? Where would you engage with those young people? Well, you probably wouldn't go through LinkedIn to do that. You'd be going on to TikTok, or you'd be, and
gotcha.
using TikTok as an advertising mechanism. So, look at this fantastic place that we work at. Why don't you
Wow.
come and join us? And
Yeah, and
all of those sort of things. Because actually, it allows you, or my view would be, that would allow you to almost, there's a self filtering there from the actual applicants. So they might go, oh, I'm not sure that place sounds like the place I want to work at, so I'm not going to apply.
yeah,
Whereas
got
I
it.
think if you've got,
Yeah,
if you've got a more standard approach, it's like, oh, well, I'll just send, you know, like 500 CVs off to these 500 businesses, and then maybe
yeah.
get one or two replies and maybe one interview. So it just feels like there's a different way that we can all do it as leaders and businesses.
Yeah, it's it's almost like the front face of that organization. How do you
Correct.
attract the right
Correct.
people at the right
Yeah.
point? And I
Yeah.
love the way and something that just occurred to me what you were saying there. Not just about hiring for new people to join you and finding the right
Mm.
match, which I get, which you can do the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
suggesting. But I'm guessing you could even extend that to thinking about your own clients and customers as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thinking back to Cooper Powery with their amazing way that they communicate with
Mm.
their clients, and then that kind of inspires a certain clientele. My guess,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Because we'll all have, what I suppose, what you describe as avatars of the
Yeah,
ideal people that we want working
absolutely.
for us,
Yeah.
or that we want to work with as
Mm.
business owners. And as you say, if you're not, I suppose, exhibiting that sort of view and approach online, actually, you're not going to attract those people to people to you.
Yeah.
And and also as well is there's the other thing as well is that also then helps retain the people that you've already got
Oh, of
working for
course.
you as well.
Yeah.
So it's almost got a double whammy. Is
Yeah.
going, well, actually, we're going to keep all the talent that we've already got working for the business, and we're going to complement it with these, with these new people coming in, or when you get vacancies and things like that.
Really good point. So actually retaining top talent, especially in today's world,
Exactly.
where capacity then, our ability to have the capacity to service our clients comes on the talented people that we've got. So yeah, I get that link. And actually, fact, the whole playfulness thing, hopefully attracts and keeps and retains the right level of people in the business. So you've got the capacity to handle whatever it is that your clients need. Well, yeah, I've not thought about that link.
And I think that goes back to our previous discussion then about hybrid working and how do you create that environment so that you can actually go, do you know what? We're comfortable having this person within the organisation because they're top talent, but they're working, remotely 4 days a week,
or
and
3 days
we're able
or whatever.
to engage with them in a playful way in this manner, and all of a sudden your net of potential employees. Admittedly, this is more around sort of an office, a sort of corporate office based environment, I suppose, is actually wider. And then, and all of a sudden it just creates a different dynamic and a different way of doing business.
A dynamic, I like that. And it's almost like a trust dynamic, isn't it? That's the key concept to this open and trusting dynamic. And if you can display that with your staff, you can display it to your customers and your clients as well, interestingly. Dave, I'm going to give you a quick break now. We're heading towards an end point, very short, just to let you know. But let's just bring in Mrs. Moderator again, if I can find her. Where's Mrs. Moderator gone? Where are we? I've lost the moderator thingy. Where are we? Okay, here it is. Sarah, what's going on in the comments? Chuck?
Oh, lots in the comments. Dan's came up with a really interesting point about absolutely agreeing with openness. But again, a little bit controversial maybe, but actually the older people within the company perhaps have a responsibility to equip the younger generation.
Oh, I love that. That's proper.
They maybe might not come in, particularly soft skills. It's all
Absolutely.
very well teaching somebody how to do a job.
Yeah.
But
well said, Hans.
How do they learn how to react within the workplace? What is acceptable? What isn't?
And that encouragement, I to the power of we, this is what Leaders Live stands for.
Totally. And, again, Steve Whittle's point about the younger generations, really not instant gratification, but instant praise. They love the instant feedback.
Yeah.
But there's a place for all generations.
Beautiful. Absolutely.
It's learning how to blend it together, really, I think, isn't it? And what's acceptable for one generation might be, really not quite the done thing for a different generation. And finding that blend.
Yeah, and we can all be young at heart, right, Dave, too? Sorry, Dave, what were you going to say? Yeah.
No, I was just going to say it's an interesting point that's been made about the young people. So one of the things I do outside of my day job is work very closely with schools and colleges on career development programs as a lead enterprise advisor in the Black Country where I live. And it's interesting. We have a lot of conversations about how do we as enterprise advisors help equip those young people with those softer skills and understand what it's like moving into the business environment. But I think I'm starting to have more and more conversations with people now about actually how do we use those interactions to understand young people better.
Yeah, brilliant.
And to your point about the point about instant gratification and what are they looking for in a working environment, because ultimately they're going to be now working environments for, in the nicest possible way, a lot longer than I've got left in a working environment and those sort of things. And I think those are the things that we really need to think about, is that it's not about instilling, and I'm not saying that this is what the suggestion was with the comment, but instilling our views on what the workplace is like. It's about understanding what are those people looking for, and us as leaders changing our mindset and being open to how we need to operate going forward,
and how we need to be younger as the older ones. Exactly. Love that. Sarah, anything else that we need to pick up?
Jonas makes a great point. As a self-proclaimed gamer, disagrees that the reward should be instant. The whole idea of a game is to be doing lots of different steps. So there we go. There's the other viewpoint.
Little dopamine hits, eh? Go back to dose.
Short-term goals, but look for the long-term gain.
Yeah, like that.
Amy Lee Tonner says it's also cohesion to think about in large companies. Social media promises lots of fun and opportunities, but when it moves to the next round, it's a different environment. And, you know, are they initially what they thought they were joining? Is it actually not really like that? So it comes back to authenticity, doesn't it? You know,
spot on, Amy.
Something that you're not.
Yeah, good point. Don't pretend you're not something that you're not. No, indeed. Yeah.
But the last thing, Jo Cooper made me laugh. She said they used to put drop names of songs into pitches when they were doing telesales, or certain ways that you had to try and get into the conversation. A bit like bingo. That did make me laugh.
Song bingo. Again, I love that. Yeah.
That's it, yeah. Three letter acronym bingo's always a winner in the corporate environment.
Love that. Love that. That's fantastic. Brilliant.
That's a good note to finish that bit on,
isn't it? Yeah. Well done, Sarah. Lovely. So let's get on to your call to action, Dave. So, you know, we talked a little bit about your book. Well, we haven't really talked about your book, but, you know, tell us a bit about your book, Fueled, Fit and Fired Up, and how does that link to what we're doing today, Dave?
Yeah, so I wrote my book nearly 2 years ago now, but it was all about it's all about mental, emotional, and physical well-being, and how finding the fun in that and sharing practical techniques helps improve it. You know, and find, you know, with everything in life, is if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to do it as, you know, much. It goes back to my, you know, admission about not doing the cold showers as much as I perhaps do earlier in the conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to tell Dulcie of you.
And that, you know, that's sort of where it was at. It's about, you know, ultimately the fun element of, you know, of workplace is going to help people's well-being, and help your team's well-being, and you know, along with those techniques that you can learn that are relatively, you know, as I said, relatively straightforward, but also don't, you know, try and avoid focusing on the, you know, sort of being, you know, it's not about being perfect all of the time, and
absolutely,
you know, and admitting that, and knowing that, and recognizing
and feeling safe with that,
and, you know, and that's what the book's all about, really.
And accepting that,
You know?
Thank you, Dave. So that's info@fueledfitandfiredup.com. Website, same thing, fueledfitandfiredup.com. And you can contact Dave Rogers on LinkedIn. We put all the links into the feed for you to contact Dave. Dave's kindly said, look, we gave 5 freebie books away ages ago when Dave was on first time, when he was advertising his book. He's willing to do another 2. So for those of you that want a book, get in there quick, ask for it now. The first 2 that pop that into the comments that they want a book, then it's yours if you're quick with your fingers and thumbs. So thanks, Dave.
No problem at all.
Yeah, so we're coming to the end of the show, folks, and thanks again, Dave, for enlightening us with an extraordinary, playful conversation. We've loved having you on the show again, my friend. And look, this show will be on podcast as well too shortly. So if you can't watch the replay, you don't fear not. You've got the podcast as well. Please remember to subscribe to our Leaders Live email list. That's really working very well at the moment. Actually, I'm really pleased with that. So, and you'll see the link and in the link tree URL to do all that. It's really easy pieces. So all the connections and links are there. But please especially do the email list for me. Sarah put the links in the comment now, or Tilly. And before I get on to what's next week, folks, just a quick reminder that Leaders Live is a free show for all leaders, directors, managers and entrepreneurs who are interested in business growth and having a fun workplace through infotainment, and enjoy taking part in these extraordinary conversations which we've had today. And it's all done in a playful way, right? And together in this community, we aim to make the world betterer, folks. There you go, Jonas. The word better has come out there. And we want to bring a spirit of freedom, of joy and fun through the feel-good factor in all our working lives, just like we talked about with Dave today. And a bit about Ghost as well. Thanks for being our sponsors, Ghost. We're very proud of that. And Ghost are a brand and design agency with an exceptional team of highly skilled and vibrant people that help develop and shape your brands to inspire your business. You know, a business just like yours, just like mine. They've certainly worked on my business, and I'm really proud of that. And here's Sarah to talk very briefly about what we do at PDX. Over to you, Sarah.
Yeah, just very timely, really. So, talking about different personalities, different types of people in the organisation.
Yeah.
Andrew's not just Leaders Live; he does a lot more with people development. He is your people and teams guy. So,
Yeah.
if you're sitting there thinking, I don't really know what sort of type of people we all are, or how we interact, or how could we do it better, give him a ring, hop on LinkedIn, look at his Linktree links. We
Thank
do
you.
love to talk, costs nothing to talk. So yeah, get in touch.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sarah. That was really nice. And the goose for next week, folks. So very briefly, next week on Tuesday, the 31st of January, folks, at 8:45 UK time, we're going to be hanging out with Kieran O'Donnell, who's online right now, founder of Own Your Numbers. This guy, he's incredible. He's a really nice bloke and very, very wise. And former head of strategy at TalkTalk and had senior roles at Carphone Warehouse back in the day. And our theme is, there's a lovely theme, this is what Kieran and I came up. What has accountability, cash flow got in common with cold showers? Back to that cold showers thing. I don't know, but we'll find out then. So it's a lovely little link to that. So we're going to be talking about the numbers and a bit more than just numbers, because numbers can sound really boring, but the way Kieran talks about business numbers and being all over your numbers as a business, massively important. So that's Kieran's stuff next week on the 31st. We think you're going to love it. So we can't wait. So be there or be square, folks. We're gonna rock out to our outro now. And I just wanted to say thanks again, Dave, for a brilliant show with us today. And here's our outro. So we'll say goodbye on this, guys. So thanks very much. We'll wave goodbye to you. Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys, online. Thanks very much for being part of the show and creating such a great community vibe. It's brilliant. And in the meantime, that's a wrap, folks. So from our hangout guest, Dave, Sarah, and me, and this Leaders Live sponsor, Ghost, and the rest of the team that have been supporting us today, like Marketing CX, thank you very much indeed for all your help. And we will see you. If you want to join us on the Discord group, we're going to be hanging out there for 5 or 10 minutes. So that's all for now, folks. See you next week. Ta-ra a bit. Ta-ra for now. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.